Hi, my name is Selena, and I'm here to do my January wrap-up and my February TBR. So in the month of January, I read 3 novels, one children's book, and one wiki thing. Not quite sure how to describe that one. So the last book I read in January was Brandon Sanderson's The Rithmatist, and it is a YA middle grade steampunk novel, and it's somewhat similar to our world, but things are a little different. So the United States is more like a coalition of many islands, and also something different in this world is that some people called Rithmatists have the ability to create things with chalk that can come to life, and there is a war happening that the Rithmatists are key in fighting, and there are wild chalklings that need to be fought against in the west, in the island of Nebraska. So the story follows Joel while he is in school, and he's the son of the cleaning lady, so he is there on a scholarship, and this is somewhat of a high class, high society school, so he is kind of like the underdog in this situation. He is also very fascinated with the Rithmatists, but he is not one himself. But his fascination with the Rithmatists and the Rithmatists' secret and mysterious ways helps when it comes to fighting crime. And there has been a string of disappearances, mainly Rithmatists, who have been kidnapped, and it is Joel along with Professor Finch, who is a Rithmatist, and Melody. They put their heads together and their know-how together and help figure out what's behind the kidnappings. So I thought it was a great read. It went by really quickly. It kept my attention. The world building was satisfactory and character development was satisfactory, but I just have to bear in mind that this is a middle school grade book, so I think this is a great way to introduce young people to Brandon Sanderson's writing, also to introduce young people to steampunk. It had very nice, simple steampunk elements without getting too out there and crazy. So that was the last book I read in January. I also finished The Windup Girl by Paolo Bacigalupi, and this is the winner of a Hugo Novella prize. I forget what year it won it, but yeah, it was a very good read. This book took me forever to read. I think I started reading this in January of last year, but I did enjoy the reading as I took my time going through it. And it follows 5 different people, and each of these people live in the same area in Bangkok, Thailand, but this is set in the very near future, where a plight or many plights have stricken the earth of many of its food stocks, and so companies have then started gene splicing and genetically altering food so that it can feed the world's population. And because now that food can no longer be grown naturally but needs to be developed in these new scientific ways, of course it becomes corrupted because people are controlling it. And so one of the main characters, Anderson, is from one of these food companies from America, and then he meets a wind-up girl, and she was made in Japan, but she was deserted in Thailand and Bangkok, where they look very badly upon, and so she has to hide the fact that she's a wind-up. And what a wind-up is a man-made being, basically. They have sentience, they can do pretty much anything that a human can, but they have more clear skin, they have better reflexes, they are immune to certain diseases that are plaguing the human population at this time as well. So she has to hide the fact that she's a wind-up. And then it also follows one of Anderson's employees who is a refugee. And we also follow two people who are government officials in Thailand, and their job is to keep people like Anderson and others from exploiting the people of Thailand. So I gave this, I think, 4 stars on Goodreads, and 4 for me is good. 5 is perfect, and I don't think there are many perfect novels out there. So I gave this book 4 stars, and this was my first Paolo Baccagaliupi read. I will be trying to get to Shipbreaker and Drowned Cities later on this year. He is a short story writer, and I believe the Windup Girl was his first novel, and you can really feel his talent as a short story writer in this, because I felt that each of the 5 characters that we follow could easily have been its own short story, but they were just kind of composited together to make one complete story. And but yeah, I really did enjoy the story, and I enjoyed most about this was the world building. It was very believable, scary, but believable in that how people manipulate, certain catastrophes. And yeah, it was a dark read, but written very well, and I enjoyed it. And I also read Neil Gaiman's The Graveyard Book, and I read this earlier in the month, and I loved it. Again, this is a YA middle grade read, but it was awesome. It was fast paced. I feel like Neil Gaiman as a YA novelist is more my speed than Neil Gaiman, the adult novelist. I started reading American Gods, but had to put it down, just wasn't getting into it. Also, I started Neverwhere, same thing. But his young adult novels, like Stardust, The Graveyard Book, Fortunately the Milk, I loved. This book also comes with illustrations, and I'm about to show you one now because they are just beautiful. And this story follows Nobody Owens. He's the orphan son of a family that has been murdered, and he's taken in by some ghosts when he stumbles upon as a baby into the graveyard. His guard is Silas, and he is someone that can come in and out of the graveyard, um, whereas the ghosts are kind of locked to their graveyard and their graves and tombstones and things like that. Nobody Owens is trying to navigate the world of the dead and the world of the living, and he's trying to figure out what it is to live. He has a very interesting upbringing. He enjoys books, but it's also a very lonely experience and a lonely life. And I just found this story a lot more touching and heartwarming than I was originally expecting. So yeah, I gave this, I believe, 4 or 5 stars. I have to go back and double check, but yeah, I really enjoyed Neil Gaiman's The Graveyard Book. Then I read a Wikihistory by Desmond Wurzel. That's Warzel, and I gave this 4 stars. And this is a very, very funny kind of futuristic sci-fi story written like a blog post. So it's a community of people who are time travelers, and every time there's a new initiate into this group of time travelers, the first thing they want to go and do is kill Hitler. But the overseers are trying to make people aware that if they go and kill Hitler, then the future as we know it would be drastically different. So it just kind of follows the antics and the storylines of these people trying to conceive a way of killing Hitler without destroying history as we know it. But yeah, it was a super short read. I mean, it'll take you like 5 minutes to read it. It counts as a book on Goodreads. So yeah, if you get some free time, check it out. And the other book that I read was a picture book. I read it to my nephew. It is called Zathura, and it was written by the same person that wrote The Jungle Book, who is, I can't remember, Chris Van Eisenberg, something like that. It's beautifully illustrated, similar to Jumanji, and it follows two kids, kind of like a sequel, actually, who find the box with the game inside. But then there's also another game inside called Zathura, and this story, instead of taking the kids into the depths of the jungle, takes them into outer space. And nephew and I had a fun time reading it, and yeah, so I would highly recommend that as a read. Now for my TBR for February. First off, in February, am going to be participating in the Harry Potter readathon, and I'm going to read the first book, Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, or Philosopher's Stone, however you prefer to say that. And then I'm going to pick up Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So I'm going to be reading Harry Potter 1 and 2. And then I'm not sure which one to do. I'm going to make another video, a stack of 5 actually, and you get to vote on the last 5 Harry Potter novels. Which of those last 5 Harry Potter novels do you think I should read? So if you want to check out that video and leave a comment saying which one you'd like me to read, and the one that gets the most votes win. So I'm going to be doing 2 buddy reads this month, and first I'm going to be reading with Rachel over at The Shades of Orange, The Kite Runner by Kedal Hassini, and this is going to be a reread for me, while this is going to be a first time reading this book for her, and I'm so excited because now I get to talk to someone about all the wonderful things that go on in this book and some of the more troubling things that go on in this book. I adore this story, so I'm kind of really excited to be doing this, and this will be hopefully a fun buddy read, and hopefully we'll do some fun project-y kind of things, I don't know, with this book, but yeah, I'll leave a link to her channel down below. Please check her out. She was one of the first booktubers to message me and reach out to me when I started, so please check out her channel. And yeah, if you want to read along with us, go ahead. We're going to be reading this in the first 2 weeks of February, and then discussing it toward the end of February, and then doing a review. So hopefully leave a comment down below if you want to read with, or if you just want to leave a comment about the book. Great. My next buddy read in February is going to be Jasper Ford's Shades of Grey, and I'm going to be reading this with Asha over at Gingerly Love. And this book is going to be like I guess a dystopian set in the far distant future, and the society is based on what colors you can and cannot see. So from what I gather, if you can see purple, then you are higher up on the totem pole, and if you can only see gray, you are lesser, or the lowest on the totem pole, and then there are varying levels in between. So I'm hoping that this is written in the high humor, hilarious, ridiculous style that the Thursday Next novel was written in, and I loved the humor in that story. So this should be super fun, and then I get to discuss with Asha all the great things that hopefully will come out of this read, and then do a review. So those are all the books I'm planning on reading this month in February, and the books that I have read in January. Please leave a comment down below about anything that you saw that interests you, or if you've read any of these books. I would love to chit-chat with you. Look me up on Goodreads or Twitter, and yeah, you can keep up with me for the Harry Potter readathon and see how far along I get. And please check out the stack of 5 to vote on which of the last 5 books of the Harry Potter series would you like me to read. Okay, that is all, and have a lovely weekend. Bye.